Hi, Virgo rising sign. Here is your weekly forecast starting on the 2nd of February, 2nd of March until the 8th of March. So the very first up is Mercury retrograde in Pisces in your seventh house, sextiling Juno in your fifth house. Well, that's surely a relationship archetype here. So this could be an ex who is returning with some maybe more commitment offers, or it could indicate a former creative collaborator returns, maybe with another solid plan to kind of monetize a joint project, working together with you. Or maybe you and a partner find a way to make the relationship a little bit more fun, a hobby that becomes a structured part of your daily life, or we are having certain type of conversations about having a child, or we are making agreement about how we want the child to to be raised or what type of school we want to send them to and so on. Now, even with the sextile, there could be some negative stuff coming up as well. Maybe the ex-partner who might be coming back into your life, and the conversation can get stuck a little bit on who owed who what, who did certain type of things, in the past. Or a creative project can be slightly bit delayed because maybe we are unable to agree on the formal rules, on the contractual details, and it might get a little bit dragged out. Then we've got Mars entering also your seventh house this week as well. And maybe the partner is finally taking the lead, and maybe you are just stepping back into more of a relaxing, more of a supportive role. I can also imagine that you are able to resolve a conflict with an opponent, and then we're using a bit of a compassion and understanding rather than more of a like a direct counter attack. However, the partner can become elusive or hard to pin down, or they're reluctant to have a serious conversation about the future. Or maybe you are attracting these victim mindset people and you feel like that you have to be saving them, but it can also drain your energy as well. Now, remember that Mars is the ruler of your eighth sign, so you might have to be working through certain type of relational commitment issues as well, or why I am kind of like wanting to save my partners. Why am I supporting them financially? Codependency issues, and so forth. Okay, then we've got Sun and Pallasat in a conjunction happening in your seventh house as well. And now potentially you have got a bit more clarity about where this relationship is heading. And maybe you are making changes. It's kind of like we need two to tango, right? And then we always have got a leader, and that's Mars. And then there's always a follower. And that Sun and Palasatine is pretty much like how to change up the steps a little bit of that tango. Because we have to be improving the harmony within that dancing. And maybe you make suggestions about how it should be done. So imagine that in business negotiations, you can recognize the other person's strategy before they even speak, and this might be giving you the upper hand. So, yeah, this could be a bit shady as well, in an indirect way, trying to lead someone. However, we can become overly critical of a partner's lack of strategy as well, and then they can feel like that they are being managed rather than loved. So that could become a topic here, or you start seeing the patterns within the relationship. But are we seeing the patterns that are there, or are we seeing the patterns that are not there? So it can lead to certain type of unnecessary worry as well. Now we've got Bacchus entering your eighth house, and basically there's a bit of a shift happening now. We're moving from the seventh house very slowly, though, but into the eighth house territory. And Bacchus will be making a conjunction to Saturn, Neptune pretty much immediately. I mean, maybe this is about grounding a shared dream or Maybe this is happening through joint investments, psychological breakthroughs. It's a very intimate moment as well. We can enjoy each other's company. It can increase sexual appetite as well. It's a bit of an ecstatic sense of empowerment. Uh, Enjoying doing psychological research. And also, it can give a lot of bravery as well to face some deep-seated fears. However, financial situation can kind of feel like it's a bottomless pit. We put the effort in, but at the same time, it might dissolve immediately. Or an intimate connection can feel pretty heavy or burdened because we have got secrets. And then maybe we are unable to trust the partner, or it's difficult for us to be vulnerable. We have got Venus stayed in your seventh house at the beginning of the week, making its very last aspect in the sign of Pisces, and that's to Uranus by a sextile. And I can imagine a partner or even a close friend who surprises you, maybe with a ticket or a plan, and that somehow that expands your world, but in kind of like a beautiful way. Or you can meet an unusual person who offers a fresh perspective on legal matters, educational matters, where to relocate, and so on. Or it could show that the partner wants to be free, and that can leave you with a bit of feeling of instability in your closest connections as well. Or there could be an unexpected legal matter coming through. I mean, Venus rules your second house, so that might be connected to money or assets, but it can be even a car, for example, like a parking ticket and so on. So just watch out for those. But also, this might be talking to us about having to handle paperwork, a little bit more carefully because Mars is the ruler of paperwork in your chart, and that's also entered your seventh house. Something that you thought you had already finished, but maybe it's not finished. So we're going to have to be able to revisit them. And that is also said by Mercury retrograde as well. Sun is in your seventh house, making a trine to Jupiter, who is soon going to go direct. I'm sure we are kind of like happy about it, but this is not this week though. And I think it might be a partner who wants to introduce you to a friend, or a partner who introduces you to a group or like-minded people, and then they just truly get you somehow. This could even indicate a reconnection with a friend of yours, or maybe you and your partner agree to go out with the friends, or to visit friends, or to even invite them over, because Jupiter rules your fourth house. But also, you guys can come up with long-term goals as well. Like, let's work together. We can be more optimistic. It's about combined strength, having a vision for the relationship. However, if we rely too heavily on a partner's opinion, then you can lose track of your own intuition, or your own strategy, or a social event that kind of feels a bit too big, too heavy, too overwhelming as well. So that's even possible because your Jupiter is a bit of a home sitting planet, Cancer, and it rules your fourth house too. Then Venus enters the sign of Aries and makes a conjunction to Saturn and Neptune, of course, pretty much immediately. I mean, on one hand, you or and your partner, or there could be business or romantic partner as well, maybe we are ready to kind of talk through finances. And then we are coming up with a solid plan for growth, and that's Saturn. Or maybe you are ready to make changes within your body, and you decide that you want to look younger, and then you go for a plastic surgery. but also maybe you are ready to face some psychological shadow, and then working on your worthiness, working on your strength also. Now, Venus is a financial planet in your chart, so this could really talk to us about more with having to talk through financial matters and potentially planning them out, talking about expenditure. However, finances can become complicated with this as well. Uh, all debts we forgot existed. We can be even, the money can burn in our pocket. With Venus and Neptune, it's very easy to do a bit of a shopping as well. Or intimate connections can feel a bit on the cold side. Especially if you feel like that, there are too many rules within this relationship and that kills the fire. And where is the passion? And then we have to be reigniting our intimate department. Then we've got Hebe entering Taurus this week, which is your ninth house. And Hebe is about finding youth. So it's about finding youth through learning and practical skills and exploring different philosophies and potentially travel plans. So imagine a trip to a natural setting and that gives you the recharge and then you feel again kind of like youngish because you potentially might have calmed your nerve system a little bit. Something that your nerve system has been kind of like craving for. However, you can get bogged down in rules or belief systems, and actually, uh, you can feel tired of other people's opinion and having to agree and so forth. And it might be something that we want to walk out. Or even planning some of your long-term goals and visions can feel a little bit heavy. Is it because you are focusing on the material costs, or is it because it's not meaningful to you anymore? So this is pretty much the weekly energy patterns for you. So of course, still the seventh and the eighth house are slowly but getting more and more active for you as well. And Venus moving into Aries is, I think it's a big deal on one hand, because of course it's one of the first planets that activates the Saturn Neptune conjunction. But I would say if you want to start studying something because you want to be improving your career prospects, this could be a great week for that. Mercury is the ruler of your midheaven, and Mercury loves studying. So that's a very possible. And Mercury Juno is about committing to something fun, something meaningful. This is reinforced with Venus and Uranus sextile as well, because Venus rules also higher studies in your chart. Now, Mercury, it's retrograde. So you might be considering certain type of contractual agreements. And sextile to Juno is actually helping you, but expect certain type of delays potentially, or expect that they promise something to you. It might not get delivered immediately. Also, this could be, because Juno in Capricorn can talk to us about someone like an authority figure. Capricorn is about promotions, in a way, pay rise, and so forth. So even if we want to have those chit chats, then actually this might be working out fine. But you might be told, yeah, pay rise is possible, promotion is possible, but let's say, for example, from June onwards. So not immediately. And that's where the Mercury retrograde can become, it becomes relevant. Now, that shift to the eighth house is about you finding inner strength, you finding your inner voice, your inner power. That's the house of willpower anyway, with Aries being there. So, what are you going to put the energy into? Fight or achievements, and that could be a big question. You can put a lot of effort into figuring out secrecy. We can put a lot of effort into worrying and uncovering secrets and so forth. Or I'm going to be self-empowered. And you might need to be making a decision on that. So, good luck, Virgo rising sign, and I will see you next week. Take care. Bye bye.